This video is brought to you by LeGrandzilla's R&P department. R&P stands for ridiculous and pathetic. Hey, it's LeGrandzilla, and I wanted to show you today a diorama that I made, which I call the Rodan aerial attack in the South Pacific. It's a different kind of diorama. It's kind of fun and interesting, I think. I thought it was clever when I built it. It does have some flaws, which I'll surely point out to you. But yeah, Rodan aerial attack in the South Pacific is what I called it. And I actually, when I brought it to G-Fest, I framed this thing and I wrote something up about what the diorama is supposed to be about. I'll read it to you if you'll bear with me. On a beautiful sunny day, two Japanese jets are flying in formation in the South Pacific. Suddenly the sky becomes dark and turbulent winds buffet the aircrafts. Rodan has escaped Monster Island and is heading toward Mount Aso. Flying at supersonic speed, Rodan barely takes notice of the jets, and either the friction from his flight at such close proximity, or perhaps due to actually being scraped by his chest spikes, the jet's fuselages rip and both planes catch fire. They begin to lose control and their paths cross, narrowly missing a collision. The pilot of one of the jets, sensing his end is imminent, veers away from his comrade, and with a final salute he whispers, "Sayonara, Diego," with his jet. As his jet erupts into a ball of flame. Tearfully, Diego ejects from his plane, Rodan continuing straight ahead as if nothing happened, save for what almost looks like a smirk on his beak. Diego swims to a nearby island where he awaits for a search party to find him. As he waits, he vows to do what he can to protect his fellow man from evil kaiju. He passes this conviction on to his son, who becomes a member of the GUTS and eventually becomes Ultraman Tiga. What a nerd I am. Anyway, let's take a look at this diorama and you can see what you think of it. Okay, here's my diorama. You can see here that I made a little bit of ocean here with an island and some trees. And sand, and I use that for the base. I usually don't, well, I don't anymore use pieces of wood that are shaped like this. I think it worked okay, but I would rather have something that looks more organic shaped. And what I did here was I used a piece of threaded rod, and in here I took a wing nut. I drilled holes into the wings of the wing nut, and I put 2 wires through there, and I threaded the wing nut to the position I wanted it. Then I took some wire through those 2 holes, and I attached planes to either side. And then I used Great Stuff insulation foam, and I went and I tried to make what looks like smoke and clouds, and of course I painted it to look lighter as it got to the back and darker as it got to the front where the explosions actually happened. One of the planes I pretty much enveloped in explosion. I used the Great Stuff, and I just went and took some small pieces of wire and had little pieces of stuff coming off of them. If you look close, you can see pieces of metal and parts of the plane. This plane is a little bit more intact. That's the one that Dai goes in, and he lands in the ocean and gets saved later. And here's Rodan. There's like 4 different incarnations of Rodan basically, And this is the one from Destroy All Monsters and some other movies. It's hard to get a good focus here. Oh, it really is. But it's a pretty simple kit. What I like about image kits is that they can take one of the suits from a Godzilla movie, and no matter how silly it looks in the movie, they're able to make it look a little bit better without being not true, being pretty accurate to what it should look like. But the painting job is fairly simple. You can see, like on the claws, just a little bit of yellow in them, and the beak fading into the brown. There's actually quite a bit of different shades of brown and whatnot. And I actually just screwed him right onto there. I can move him a little bit, change his angle. Feet. So anyway, I tried to have the trajectory show that somewhere here he must have had these spikes scrape, or just the friction of his passing by, because he always blew up buildings just by flying over them, and that caused the problem for the planes. What I did wrong with this, maybe, besides the shape of the base, maybe if I could have figured out a way to use an acrylic rod so it wouldn't show up so much, instead of just one I painted gray. And then I did put the trees right around the rod, which were meant to hide it, but really could be that I'm just bringing more attention to them, to the rod, I mean. So there's some observations and thoughts. I don't know what you think. Let's see if I can get a good shot of this from here. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, I hope you enjoy this little view of Rodan, the aerial attack in the South Pacific. It's different, it's fun. I hope you think it's good. Thanks for looking. Bye. This video has been brought to you by the letters R and P, and by the number 1, because 1 is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. 2 can be as sad as 1. It's the loneliest number since the number 1. Oh.